Yori Polani. First of all, our guest today, Malaki Ogumadu, constitutional lawyer. It's been quite a while, so we're delighted to have him. I think for the first time in our studios, in this new studio.
No, I've been here a couple of times. But
I have not been lucky. I have not been lucky. You've been going to all the other Ogbonge
I can't barge
programs.
into this place. It will be at your instance. So I'm glad and delighted to be here.
Delighted to have you. Of course, Malaki is a constitutional lawyer, as I said. When it comes to civil rights as well, well, you can see the link between the Constitution and civil rights in Nigeria. And that is what made us call on Malaki again. In the constitutional review process, INEC, it is said, actually supports inmates' voting rights. So that's what we want to talk about. And it's part of the whole efforts to review electoral laws and the Constitution. So maybe the first question I want to ask, because when you hear that statement, INEC backs inmates' voting rights, you begin to ask, say, what does this mean? Who is an inmate? What is the difference between a convict and an inmate? Maybe we'll start from there.
I think it is very important that you want us to start on that. But again, I appreciate TVC for having me this morning. INEC, in my view, is on point, spot on.
Okay.
Regarding where we should be headed. As a nation within the Committee of Civilized Nations, or as one that aspires to properly belong to the community of civilized nations.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you talk about inmates in two senses. You could have, well, generally, an inmate is any person that has lost his freedom on account of either detention, incarceration, or what have you.
In other words, lawfully.
Lawfully.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
lost his freedom.
Lost his freedom. It could be unlawfully.
Even within the federal corrective system.
Become an inmate because you've lost your freedom, particularly of movement and liberty.
Yes.
By reason of your incarceration in a custodial facility.
I knew the lawyers would find a number of more words to make it clear.
We trade on words. However, you can say that there are categories of inmates.
Okay.
There's the very notorious ones, not because they are notorious, but the Nigerian system, justice delivery system, have made them notorious. They are there awaiting trial.
And those ones that happen to be awaiting trial mates, I think they call them ATMs or something like that. You know, those ones that are awaiting trial, are they inmates as well?
Yes, they are there. But inmate, once you are an inmate, you are inmate. You are there
in the facility.
Detention facility, custodial facility.
Okay.
You are an inmate.
So you are an inmate.
Others
but not necessarily a convict.
So that's the second part.
Okay.
Others are convicted inmates. What that means or presupposes. In short, what it means.
Prisoner.
Prisoner.
You know.
Well, let's not say prisoner, because prisoner inmates almost similar.
But once you are convicted,
yes,
do you not become a prisoner?
Correct.
Once you are convicted.
So, you are a convicted inmate when you have been subjected to the crucibles of trial. Sentence have imposed on you, and you are serving, particularly prison terms. You are serving out those sentences.
Yes, okay.
Judgment delivered, sentence imposed on you, and you are serving it. So you are convicted.
Okay.
That is the difference. However, they are all inmates.
They're all inmates.
Yes.
And what we're talking about now, the INEC backing supporting inmates' voting rights, is it the same? Do you think it should be the same as they are considering it now? Do you think it should be the same for the two categories of inmates that you have outlined for us?
So you could see the beauty of that clarification.
Yes.
Now, the law, and when I say the law, I'm talking about the supreme law, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, grants to every Nigerian. It didn't say inmate, every Nigerian. presumption of innocence.
Yes.
In other words, you are presumed innocent until you are convicted of any allegation, any offense. So if you are there merely as an inmate awaiting trial, the presumption of innocence inures in your favor. What that means is that you are as good as any other Nigerian that is out there.
That's right. That's right.
Even
If you are waiting trial.
The law sees you as a normal Nigerian whose rights and privileges cannot be taken away from. So let's speak about the law very quickly so that you now understand why. Section 12, subsection 1, AB, clearly, and I'm talking of the Electoral Act 2022. It talks about who can be registered as a voter in Nigeria.
Okay.
And says such a person must be a Nigerian. That's the first condition. 2, such a person must have attained the age of 18 years. It goes on in subsection C and D to say, except you are probably disqualified by law. Maybe you are now...
there are circumstances under which the law can disqualify you from these rights that you say are ordinarily inalienable.
So pending when that happens, INEC is right.
To be backing.
Yes, because why? That constitutional right is a right. In short, sir, I've just mentioned the Electoral Act. If you go to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which is another international, sub-regional legal instrument to which Nigeria subscribes, Article 13, it insists that every Nigerian, including somebody who may have been rounded up by overzealous security men, dumped in the prison, detention facility.
Those unfortunate stories that we hear about.
I have done a case in Delta State. I can't forget this. A young man was going to the farm with his aged mother, and suddenly they were both rounded up, and the only excuse is that, well, look at this clothes you are wearing. It looked like the clothes that was worn by the armed robbers when we were chasing them 6 months ago. That was how his journey in correctional center now, because it used to be prison, Agbo. That was how his journey there for 3 years started until...
And that was not an isolated case.
We
hear so many stories.
Well, I have to file a fundamental right enforcement procedure here from Lagos, filed it there. In less than 3 sittings, he was out.
Now, in that particular
now, that kind of person who does not know why he was there, even if he did 3 years, which was sufficient for some people to graduate from a university, should not be criminalized, penalized, and denied access to this process that enthrones leadership. In short, the legitimacy of leadership is located in the participation of the people. You could talk of the validity. Oh, the election was held. It was held on the 15th of January. The legitimacy of it, which is by far higher than the validity of what was declared, inures in the participation of people. So any way and anyhow by which you exclude the electorates, qualified electorates from participating, you are depleting the legitimacy quotient. Therefore, I make the point that by all means, it should indeed be an aspiration that every Nigerian, including those in diaspora. In fact, if you look at the Nigerian Correctional Act 2019 now, which is the act by which the name moved from prison to, you could see a lot of creative innovations that are targeted towards reformation, integration, and rehabilitation of persons who, unfortunately, in most cases, find themselves there.
Okay.
If these were the objectives,
even if you are a convicted person,
yes,
what you're just saying now applies
to a large extent.
To a large extent, although with varying degrees of success. You know.
Yes.
Now, the question I immediately want to ask is that in the example that you supplied, this hapless person, you know, surrounded and spent another 3
years.
Now, that person was an inmate.
Yes.
And I think he can be...
An inmate awaiting trial, ATM.
An inmate awaiting trial. But he can be clearly distinguished from a convicted felon.
That's right.
That's another language that lawyers use.
What does the law say about that? As far as I can remember, the Constitution references a convict, not an inmate.
Okay.
And limits it to a certain period of 10 years after the conviction, within which you cannot vie.
Yes.
Within which you cannot vie
for an elective office.
Elective office.
Now, that is, in fact, you've brought me there, because I was going to come here and say, look, I mean, I don't know Buko, but
you know.
But as we are
put
here
us under
now,
pressure, so you know.
But as we are here now, and you said these things, I begin to now wonder how does the law, the fact that the law, simply because you have been convicted before, you cannot vie for the presidency of this country, for example. You cannot vie to become a governor. You cannot vie to become no, we don't say congressman here, an assemblyman. That's what the law says. So
within a certain period.
Within a certain period.
And don't forget, there's the prerogative of mercy.
Yes,
which is an executive power exercised by the president of this country.
So that could wipe somebody's slate clean.
Yes. And once that applies to you, it's as though you were never. It's as though you were never convicted. So it goes back to
what is INEC now backing in the statement? INEC backs inmates' voting right, emphasizing the word inmates.
Yeah, I thought we have traveled. We'll try to explain that.
Because I think we understand your explanation of who an inmate is, unless we're going to distinguish between an inmate and a convict.
Convicted, yes. So what I understand INEC to be saying is that we have come to that stage where another demography of electorates should be considered rather clearly. And these are persons who are inmates in custodian facilities in Nigeria. Scattered all over.
Formerly called prisons.
Prisons.
Formerly called prisons.
And they are in NDLEA, they are in DSS, they are in EFCC. In short, I spent almost one week at Abuja last week trying to, and we succeeded in rescuing one. They can be in, there are so many law enforcement agencies that have prosecutorial powers. That gives them the power to also detain in the course of their investigation, provided you do it within the ambits of the law. The law says detain, that you must take to court or grant bail if your detention facility is at least 40 radius from where he or she is detained. If there is none, you can't exceed 48 hours.
Well,
it must be within that range.
That sounds familiar, because we've often heard people alleging that that particular aspect has been infringed in their own case.
Yes.
That it's supposed to be 48 hours. But let me bring in the first caller this morning. Good morning, Mr. George Inikeja.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to Malaki.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. George.
Uncle Yori, INEC, in my view, should go and conduct voter education and boost voting population of Nigerians, instead of looking for catchment, what I want to describe as a catchment audience. Once your personal things associated to freedom, you cannot do pick and choose about it. You said he has lost his freedom for that period, except voting freedom. And say, okay, if it is selective, he can go home, attend a family event or club event, and come back. He has to do that. Then, when it comes to voting, you are saying he can go out and vote of his loss of freedom. It doesn't make sense.
No. I don't think it's a matter of going out to vote.
It is the electoral officers to go there.
As opposed to INEC, as it were, going there to meet them.
Uncle Yori, that's why I call it catchment audience.
Okay.
Catchment in the sense that he has been held captive in a place, and you know he cannot live there. You now come to him and sort of persuade him or force him to vote. When he knows, he will know that if he doesn't vote, there may be some punishment for him inside the prison there. You are making it to look like you are forcing him to vote. If you say he has lost one freedom, he has also lost all other freedoms. Why is he taking political? I know the INEC is doing this because there is low turnout of voters at elections. But the solution is not in looking for catchment audience. The political parties and INEC are not doing enough to encourage people to vote. Simplify it. Simplify the registration process. And not the one that you ask somebody to register and not get the card in 6 months. And then he has to visit the place about 5 times before he can get captured. That one discourages people. So these are the areas they should look into. And when voting also comes, it should be simplified. Let technology come in. I'm unable to reason along there with our experts there this morning that some rights can be given to somebody who has lost his personal freedom just because we want voters.
Okay.
I said it before that you are voting, and when you are incarcerated, naturally you are an aggrieved person against the authorities. Yes.
Okay. Let me get the response.
Person that is incarcerated believes the authorities are not kind to him.
Okay.
And you want him to vote for them.
Okay. I hear you, sir. Thank you very much. Let me get, Mr. Ogumadu's position.
My presumption is that Mr. George, by the way, I have tremendous respect for Mr. George and his views. I don't think he came in when we started, because we tried to draw a lot of distinctions on so many fronts. The one being that we're talking of inmates whose presumption of innocence is still available to them because they've not been tried. So many of them even come out enforcing those rights we are talking about. Secondly, we're talking of instances in which the election monitoring bodies, staff and officers of the election commission going to, it's a new demography of persons who are otherwise qualified to vote. And the law says you must make yourself available. But in this instance, they are constrained. They are confined. And they are limited to the custodial facility. Therefore, the proposal is that the election monitoring body, staffs of the election, should make provision and visit those facilities. Now, if you have quarrel with persons who unfortunately find themselves detained in custodial facilities, what about Nigerians in diaspora? Do you still quarrel with them? We're talking about inclusion. And I have made the point that the legitimacy of election has to do with the participation of the electorate. So where you, for whatever reason, have exclusions, either by people who are in detentions for what they don't know anything about and still remain Nigerians, many of them innocent, or you are talking of Nigerians in diaspora, many of them contributing even by far more than in terms of patriotic involvement in the country.
I don't know how those in diaspora
in fact,
and our local inmates can be mentioned in the same sentence.
No, I'm making the point that if my friend, Mr. George,
Yes.
has issues with inmates who are yet to be convicted, who are in detention facilities, custodial facilities, and then rationalize.
And so have limited access to the process.
Yes. So will you also extend the same argument for Nigerians who are not in detention but are in diaspora? We are saying that the aspiration should be including every person. In other words, I'm also in support of having diasporas vote.
Okay, indeed.
In Nigerian elections.
And I don't think there's that, but that's another matter. I don't think any Nigerian will actually be against that.
If you're
against.
Well, it's okay.
Okay. Mr. Joshua, thank you for holding on. Do please go ahead now.
And lawyer, I do align myself with what Mr. George is saying. I really have been trying to figure out what we are trying to achieve. These INEC aligning themselves.
Okay, are you are there? Okay, there were so many gaps between your sentences, but carry on, please. Maybe it was just your pace. Okay, do please try to call us back. Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. Now, the first thing you said is that, yeah, in your opinion, INEC is on the right track.
That's what I believe.
That's the very first thing you said.
Yes.
So the next
That's what I think.
And I think the question I would have asked, you've also, even without my asking it, have also alluded to certain aspects as to why this is so, because I would have wanted to know how important is that particular aspect of the process, considering all the things that we really have to think about. But
in terms of prioritizing...
in terms of prioritizing what is the more important issue. And then let me just make it a triple by asking you what you know of the behaviors of other jurisdictions to this particular question.
Very good question. First is that issues of voting is a civic responsibility.
Okay.
That's the first point I want to make. The second point is that the almost intangible contribution of Nigerians that cannot be equated around in values of naira and kobo.
Okay.
And therefore, when you begin to trivialize this, thinking that, oh, it doesn't matter, you there hit at the heart of what we, as political scientists, as lawyers, as philosophers, understand about governance. You know, you could see yourself in position, but you are not in power. You can have the validity to govern because an election monitoring body have declared you the winner, but you lack legitimacy. You may have been proclaimed a winner in an election.
Yes.
Imo State, a good example. Go to Imo State. They call him Supreme Court governor. You may think all of those things don't matter. But in the philosophy of governance as human endeavor, it is not just skewed, it is defective when you don't have people. So that is the point when the people own it.
Okay, this is the human rights advocate of you coming out. I introduced you as a constitutional lawyer, but you also have a very extensive background in human rights.
And that is with modesty.
And so you see, I think that is what is going. But you will continue. But let me bring in Elder David, who I didn't want to interrupt you for. Good morning, Elder David in Alimosho.
Yes, I'm waiting. Thank you.
Please go ahead now, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. The line. Okay, continue. Maybe it will get better. The line is quite noisy. Elder David, I'm sorry, it must be your area, but there was so much noise on your call, and this was not noise from around where you are. You know, it seemed to be a technical sort of a noise, so I'll just put that down to the network. So
your question was around the priority of such endeavor amidst the mountain
of
challenges
that we have to consider.
I wish I had been invited to discuss those other issues. I was invited to discuss the issue regarding the position of INEC. By the way, it is not INEC that is the protagonist of this idea. The Nigerian people. In short, there was a time when Nigerian diaspora we insisted that we are here by circumstances of our country. We want to be part of the process so that we don't just stop at, complaining, brooding over issues that we can also control by participating in election and guaranteeing that the one we perceive to be better should emerge as our leader. Those campaigns had preceded this time. And I didn't see anything different in what they are saying and what INEC has now found that there is yet another category of Nigerian voters. Perhaps we will do better in our drive to achieve inclusion, in our determination to attain legitimacy as distinct from validity, if we capture this other category of voters. Many of them are languishing, and the statistics are there.
It's not such a big number, although an injustice to one is an injustice to too many.
Thank you. So I now go, let's even examine the examples we have. And these are verifiable. In 2004, this was in South Africa year, there was a decision in the case of the Minister of Home Affairs and one Negro, in which the court came out, they have constitutional court there, very vividly and lucidly to say that inmates are entitled not just to participate in the processes, but to be able to vote. This is why you see in South Africa, for instance, there will be heavy protest if you are denied that.
Okay, so
that has also happened in the European.
I was going to say that you are touching on the other aspect of the question that you would have got to had there not been these introductions.
You asked about priority.
Yes. Okay. So, I'm told that I should just take a break now.
Fine.
So let me.
But what I'm saying that INEC should make provision for their personnel.
All right. All right.
INEC personnel to go to correction. I say INEC personnel to go to correctional centers and do the registration for them.
Okay, that's about the modalities. I hear you, sir. You're talking about the modalities of how this will work.
It's a very good development that Nigeria, at least we are progressing. With the new regime we have now, Nigeria is progressing. All the policy going on is what we call development. That is what we call about the digital development, not analog development. The digital development that we have now is moving. That's why you see the economy moving, everything's moving. We thank God for INEC, but they should keep it up. They say the correctional center, they have eligibility to vote. They have to be registered. Good morning, Mazi Okrafo.
Thank you very much, Mazi. You touched briefly on, but you see, because of the nature of our program, we're going this way, we have to take care of that. You mentioned South Africa.
Yes.
They have constitutional court, over there. And so I wanted you to also share your knowledge of what happens in other jurisdictions. What we are doing now, what we are considering, it hasn't been done yet, has it?
No, we haven't. It's an idea that is mooted. It's taking a very long time because, to my knowledge, there have been this campaign and advocacy for some time. I think what has given impetus is the fact that a body such as INEC has lent its voice.
It has actually lent its voice.
Otherwise,
the question now is that in how many countries already does that obtain?
Oh, well, you can't begin to count on your fingertips all of those. But I've mentioned, yes. Look, issues of election, like I said, are civic responsibilities. Civic as they are.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Yes.
The Joshua in Ibadan, that was difficult. In Irewolide, I beg your pardon. Good morning. Good morning. Please go ahead now, please. Go ahead, Mr. Joshua. Go ahead now. Mr. Joshua, Inirewolede, go ahead now.
Okay, Uncle Yori, thank you.
Okay.
My contribution is in the area of the performance. I want the lawyer there is an active voice in terms of speaking up about INEC's performance in elections. And the last election, for example, I listened to him several times, how bitter they were in terms of the performance of INEC, right, in the last election. The condemnation was too loud. Now, the point is this. We're talking about an INEC that is conducting an election for people who are in society, who are not in prison and all that, who have access to information, who are a little bit more enlightened, and there's huge failure. Now you want to extend that failure to the prison sector. What exactly is going on? Who is advising them? Have we been talked about elections who are eligible to vote, as it were? So I'm only thinking that this progress should go towards when you have done well in an area, and you think that, okay, my logistics are covered everywhere I need to cover, and let me extend it somewhere. You extend success to other fields, not failures. So that the next election, now that they are stretching it further, there's going to be more issues of logistics, more issues about deploying the right people. Where I voted in the last presidential election, we had a lot of problems with INEC staff coming on time, to attend to the people who were waiting. And the people became agitated and all that. Now go to the prison again. Now you are extending the logistics. Please put it to him so that when the next election comes, they should know that they are the ones that encourage INEC to go into this area. And they won't be shouting INEC is a failure. They should rather encourage INEC to deepen the success of the current elections that they are conducting, rather than going further to be adding more.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. He believes you're a bit heavy-handed on INEC. Would you agree?
No. On the contrary, as I understand it, he believes that on the one hand, we condemned INEC for the way they conducted the last general election. And presently, we are now praising them for an idea they are muting. I think they are mutually exclusive. What I'm saying is not the same thing. And I reserve that right. If I find transgressions, and very open ones, in the way and manner INEC conducted elections, I reserve that right, just as he does, to point that out and even criticize it. But that will not detract from an idea that aligns with what I believe in.
Okay.
And I think this is where
in the greater interest, greater public good.
We condemned the conduct of the last election based on empirical evidence that we have. Now INEC is making a proposal that seems to, in my view, support inclusion in the election processes. Okay. And I support it.
Right.
I think they are not mutually inclusive, they are exclusive.
Okay. Well, just to tell our viewers that we'll continue with this broadcast as you are seeing it. Our viewers are used to it, but we're also switching off to another channel. And just to alert you, you continue to watch this by going to our YouTube channel. Okay.
But I understand the point he's making. He makes the point that, look, this same INEC, you want to extend their exercise.
The logistics, and
the entire exercise into a fresh entity.
Yes.
Where the same INEC who, with what they had, could not deal with logistics. That's the point he's making.
That is.
Why would therefore people like us...
We were also talking about priorities in the studio. Yeah.
Why would therefore people like us begin to insist and support the idea of stretching the same logistics that failed when they had to deal with limited number of electorates? So, does that answer the need to grant every Nigerian? And when I say every Nigerian, it could be your cousin, it could be your sister, brother, Who is in that detention facility?
The principle is there, that every Nigerian.
The Constitution, the Electoral Act, I have reference also 12 of the Electoral Act that says once you're in Nigeria, you have attained 18, and there is nothing that precludes you.
I wish I had a better idea of
how
many people were even talking about. I was trying to ask
that information keeps mutating.
Yeah, but he wasn't hearing us. He was just speaking and speaking and speaking, and we're trying to interject that you, as a retired policeman, you probably have a closer idea than the rest of us. But let me take Benga in Abuja. Good morning to you, sir. Benga in Abuja, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling.
Good morning,
go ahead.
Mr. Malaki.
Yes. Go ahead.
You have spoken very well. And involving the inmates in voting in Nigeria is one of the good things that will happen to our democracy. I'm not a lawyer, but they often say they are innocent until found guilty, even though they are incarcerated. I don't know if they apply those who are in the correctional center. Some of them have not even been tried. Some of them are waiting trial. Some of them they are not be convicted by the court. So if they have that privilege, I think
a good thing.
It extended to voting. We have seen many of them who have been given opportunity for education. Open University, many of them are graduated from Open University now. And when they leave that place, they become a better citizen. So if the aim is to correct
and rehabilitate
while they are there, I think they should be able to exercise their right of voting, of determining who leads them.
Okay.
Because every decision the leaders make, the government makes affect them. So on that ground, I will support it, and they should make sure that they are intimidated, they give enough voters education, and INEC make sure that they provide all logistic material, both for registration, giving them their TVC, and doing the voting, they are well.
I think we can take that for granted.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We can take all of the rest. Those are the mechanics of it, the logistics of it. Once the idea is bought and becomes codified, the way you lawyers say it, I just use that codified now. And I said, why am I using the words that lawyers use? So, but you get what I'm trying to say here, that I think most people also align with your opening statement, which is that INEC is on the right track.
On this one?
On this one.
That does not detract from the fact that they have issues in the last election.
Yes.
And that we're not satisfied. We will keep saying it and then encourage them in areas where they have, in any case, this is not a fresh idea.
It isn't, because, but you see, the other thing is that this exercise that we're talking about.
Will I therefore condemn this idea because it's coming from my neck? In that case, I will be chasing the messenger and not the message.
So when you look at it, really, this whole idea, this exercise that we're having here, it's part of the whole process.
Of course. Civic enlightenment,
it's part
education.
of the process. So apart from those that they invite to the hallowed chambers to come and give their views, they're also getting our views.
Correct.
For free. And many people are phoning in. So it's a useful exercise. And the principle upon which it is based cannot really be faulted. It's just that people tend to feel one kind about people
because
who
there are competing, corresponding challenges in the country that they believe you first of all need to survive before you talk about voting. And that's why we talk about generation rights, first generation rights, second generation rights, and so on and so forth. I'll give you an example. Not many people fully understand that the rights contained under the fundamental objectives and directive principle of state policy are by far more important than the fundamental rights we're talking about. I'm talking about those rights like right to education, shelter, proper wage. In short, if you look at the Constitution, it doesn't talk of minimum wage. It talks of living minimum wage. There is retirement benefits, and so on and so forth. If you don't have the right, to be properly educated, right to education, what manner of expression, what is the quality of the expression will you be expected to give? So you have a fundamental right to freely express yourself.
Yes, but...
So what are you going to express if you are poorly enlightened, if you are poorly educated, if you are not given the right to be educated in the first place, if the right to be educated is not a priority to the government, and in respect of which you can even challenge that government to say, no, you have Child Rights Act, in short, virtually all the states, but it took a long struggle to get to that point. Here is the point. If we ignore all of these pockets of incremental progress and development, ultimately you will find that the progress you have made is without value. And that's what we're making. That to gain legitimacy, and the way it works is that people at that point begin to own what they have. Is it a government? They defend it. Is it the Constitution? Look at our argument. I've done an extensive work on this thing they are doing, Constitutional Amendment. I said, look, it's a joke. You have
really?
to...
That's the way you feel about
it. That's a different debate. I have had to write, well published. I had gone to conferences and fora to defend that position. It's a lengthy debate. But if you flip it around and make the people own it, you will see why people defend their country, why people can go to any length to ensure that you don't interfere with what has become our national identity, national destiny, and national progress. You know, so those are the points.
You know, well, I want to thank you very much, because you see, it can be a very lengthy process. Once we grab hold of any corner of it, and I so hate to interrupt you once you set sail. But at least the most important thing is that as an expert, the first thing you say is that INEC is on the right track here, because we're aligning ourselves with the Committee of Nations, and more than a handful of countries, you know, are actually where we are considering whether or not we should go there. You even brought in the whole matter of diaspora voting. Yes. That's another big one.
Even at that point, you were quarreling what was the nexus between them, but we kept insisting. And you see, that preliminary, we needed to clear those grounds and set the tone properly in a way that doesn't accommodate any kind of ambivalence. You know, in a way that doesn't accommodate any kind of confusion or ambivalence. To say, look, on this one, INEC is right. Why are they right? The Constitution gives everyone the right of innocence. It says that you are innocent until you are proven guilty. So if you are in the detention facility but you have not been proven guilty, you are as good as any other Nigerian who is...
And even when you are convicted, you said that there will be recommendations as to how long your rights can be abrogated. You know, it's already there. You can't vie for certain things until a certain time has passed. I want to thank you very much, Malaki. Mr. Malaki Ugumadu is a constitutional lawyer and is a human rights activist as well. Do you want me to go back? They know already. Go back to chairman of CDHA.